Hi, and welcome to Keep It Real. I'm Tracy Carrion, and I am here in the heart of social distancing and stay at home during the COVID-19 pandemic. So, maybe like many of you, I have been isolated in my home for a couple of weeks. I know some of you are out there still working to keep the rest of us fed and healthy, and to you all, I say thank you. Um, and hopefully, those who aren't are staying in and helping to keep the rest of to keep us all well and safe and healthy as well, because that's what we can do. And I know though that this is a really weird time, stressful in many, many ways, especially financially and socially to many. And, my desire, my ideal would be to be able to change that reality. But I can't, and none of us can change the reality of the very moment. We are doing what we can to to recreate the reality, to make it anew so that we can all, you know, begin living our lives outside our homes and in healthy and safe ways. But what I want to really talk about today is kind of, what is the opportunity alive within this time that we can live? That does not mean that I in any way belittle or, take back anything that I know that is difficult and challenging and real right now. But here we are. And so, what is the opportunity we can take? What can we do? And what I think is the key to that is looking at the paradigm of our lives. And this time is asking us to really explore that, look at that, and maybe begin to shift it a little bit. We're kind of being forced to shift it in some ways. The paradigm of living that we are used to is what could be referred to, and this is not me making this up, I heard this years ago, but as a kind of do have be paradigm. We in our everyday lives are very much about what we need to do, our to-do lists, getting things done, being productive, being active, being busy, and therefore, feeling that we are um, doing what we're supposed to be in this life by doing. And then when we do what we're supposed to do, we do it so we can have what it is that we want, so that then we can be what we really deeply want to be. And it's an interesting thing. But if I asked you to fill in the blank of, a happy life is a blank life. A happy life is a life. How would you fill in that blank? Now, when I have done this before in classes and so forth, I get all kinds of answers from everything from it's a peaceful life. I get it's a happy life. Happy life is a happy life, but a peaceful life, a content life, a successful life, an adventurous life. We all have different sort of definitions of what it is to us to be happy. And if we dug deeper into that, would be like, well, what does that look like? What does that really mean to you? And that may be a whole nother video at another time. But my point in it today is that that's the being part in a lot of ways. What do we really want to be in life? We want to be peaceful. We want to be content. We want to feel optimistic and happy and joyful. And, we want to maybe feel, successful. But in that sort of paradigm of do, have, be, that's the be one. We're all really looking for a state of being. And we're doing all this doing and accumulating all this having in order to be what it is we truly and deeply want to be. And the problem with it is, and in his really, really popular TED Talk, Sean Aker, who's a positive psychologist out of Harvard, discusses the idea that we keep kind of pushing happiness farther and farther away, like to some over the cognitive horizon, that once I've accomplished all of this and done all of this and have all this stuff, then I can be happy. But there's always something more. There's always like a higher mountain, a higher pinnacle that we think we need to reach, and we keep pushing it farther and farther away. And so the new paradigm, right now, a lot of our just for many of us, and I know not for all of us, but for many of us, our capacity to do has deeply changed. We don't have, we're being asked not to do, and yet we're still maybe living cognitively, mentally that paradigm of do, do, do. And so maybe we're like, what do I do? What do I do? And when we don't know what to do, we end up doing maybe nothing, sitting on the couch, hey, I love Netflix as much as the next person. And so, but it churns inside of us. Like I'm still the hamster on the wheel, but the wheel's been taken and I don't know what to do with myself. But the real thing is that paradigm needs shifting anyway. If we took time to focus on how we be, and we started that chain with be, what would our lives look like? How would it change what we do? So what I mean by that is if we really took time to create like rituals of self-care and time to focus on how we be, like if I took time to meditate, to journal, to really sort of slow down and focus on my state of being and how to raise that. And I want to do more videos on what that means and what that looks like. But what would it even mean to you to focus on how you be? And what would happen if you just took time to be in a good and positive and healthy way? Um, that doesn't mean we still won't have lots of hours for Netflix, but really took time out of each day to focus on being. Would it change what we do even when we come out of the isolation? Um, because the brain works better, positive psychology will talk about how the brain works better when it's in a positive state rather than when it's in a neutral or a negative state. And so if we can focus first on raising those states of being, on balancing our states of being, then what we do may come from a deeper, richer, truer, realer place. And so then, hold on just a minute. Sorry. And so then, and then what we have will feel more natural and good for us. So that's all I want to say today. I want to plant that seed, and then we'll take off on it a little bit more as we go. Oh, keep it real.